Let me tell you a little story. Why Manushir is actually here. It was many years ago that I was asked by Commerzbank, because they were sponsoring my chair, to give an afternoon or something. Actually, it was so funny. It's like, well, what should I speak on? Well, you decide. So it was actually kind of a weird thing, but that presentation that happened somewhere to the north of Frankfurt, I remember,
yes,
was actually, he was the person managing the event. And that's how we actually got to know each other. And then a little while later, he contacted me and asked me whether he could actually do his doctorate with me. And so that started a conversation, you know, what he's interested in, et cetera, et cetera. And at the end of this conversation, I said, well, you cannot be my doctoral student because you should do something else. Because during this conversation, he revealed that he has a deep passion for ancient arms of Persia. And then increasingly he got into the metallurgy. So I also understand, you know, how these weapons were made, what made them particularly durable, particularly deadly, I guess. You know, so then he started scientific publishing on this. So I don't know how many dozens of articles by now that he has written. 200 articles on that topic. So by now, if there's actually one of these ancient weapons that get auctioned off and they need an expert to issue an expert opinion, it's actually Manushir by now being contacted. Yeah? And so it all started with something. How can you actually focus on something that nobody gives a damn about? What is actually lying around in some basement in Iran, to something where he actually has developed you know, such a unique skill that he's actually a worldwide expert on this topic. And obviously he also has expanded his focus since. It's not just the ancient arms of Persia anymore. He also has a black belt. I think there are like different levels of a black belt in karate.
yes,
And,
yes.
you know, he probably mentions that as well. It's actually a bit higher by now, so that I think he got trained by the master in karate. And many other activities. I always wonder when I listen to him how he actually fits that into a 24-hour day. Next to, I think you still have a family, I believe.
Yes, of course.
But so he's actually very versatile. But you know, it comes down to what is the topic for today. You know, you can achieve a lot if you have passion for what you do. And this is actually the objective of this talk, to transport that to you. And without further ado, Manushir, again, very grateful that you're here.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you. First of all, thanks to Ulrich and also Anita for inviting me to AAPS. It was an honor to be at European Business School. I'm going to just, thanks for introducing me. My first book was published in 2006. I have now 9 books published. The 10th will be published by the end of this year. This is for a major Kuwaiti collection, a Kuwaiti collector who is going to dedicate this to a big museum, make a museum out of it. So it's going to be published, it will be 10th book of mine. And as Uri said, I have 200 print articles in the most renowned scientific journals in the field. I published, I'm going to explain, in the field of metallurgy, in the field of mechanical engineering for metals, in the field of archaeology, in the field of military history, military strategy, and also how crucible steel, or the so-called Damascus steel, was made. Let me just go and show to you why I started. Because Uri said it, I started martial arts at the age of 5. The whole time I was doing martial arts, the whole life. Now I don't remember the day when I was not doing martial arts. Ulrich kindly said, I have 3 black belts. One of them is in full contact knockdown karate Kyokushin, means without gloves, nothing, you just go for it, right? I have 3rd dan in black belt, certified by Kyokushin organization. So I'm there. I'm also into wrestling and also into MMA, these type of things. But that's only, I just wanted to give you why my interest comes. I remember doing martial arts, okay, not only, but Japanese martial arts, you sooner or later are confronted with the world of Nihonto. Nihonto means traditionally made Japanese steel. In Japan, they're regulated. In Japan, you cannot go, like here in the rest of the world, buy a sword which looks like a katana, means long sword, or wakizashi, short sword. You need to only you can buy if they're traditionally made. Prices are from 10,000 to 20,000, newly made to 100,000. That type of swords we're talking about. They're national treasures. You can do your doctorate, you can do your postdoctorate degree on making Japanese swords. So that's where I come from. Love for Japan, because of martial arts, love for Japanese swords. Until I was confronted one day, my first book was published 2006. Your Persian, what about Persian steel? I didn't know much about that. I know that in the so-called Islamic Arms and Armor, some articles were published on that. Let me show it to you. This is Persian steel. This is the surface metal of two Shamshir, Persian blades. These are hand forged, and look at the pattern. The whole blade looks like that. If you have such a blade in your hand, it is a top quality blade, you think water flows. That's why water steel. It's like an ocean.
It's like it's Damascus steel, multiple layers.
Yes, Damascus steel is a misnomer, and I will explain. Damascus steel is a misnomer because when knights, European knights, Hospitallers and Templars, the main forces, who went to free Jerusalem from Muslims, and on the way there and protect the pilgrims, Christian pilgrims, then the first time they were confronted by so-called Saracens. Actually, most of them were not Arabs. They were from everywhere, right, from Muslim lands. And they were very surprised at the cutting capabilities of their swords. That the swords cut very well. So first they thought it was magic. Back then everything was magic, right? Later on, then they found out this is a different type of steel which looks like that. But they thought they're made in Damascus. But actually they were not made in Damascus. Most of them were made in Iran, Persia, and some in India, but I will come back to it. And then imported there. But they thought it was Damascus steel. Well, it is a very interesting story if you want about espionage back there, how to import it back. But this is a long story. But yeah, if you have any questions, you can of course ask during my presentation. Then look at this. These are two knives, as in Persian called card. Look at the surface pattern. Look at this. You see like the rungs of a ladder. This is called leather pattern. With this, now back then people were very religious, right? This is the best quality of this steel. Means you can go to heaven with that, right? Creating this by hand, they created by hammering. I will explain, you can imagine what it means. Once you are a Picasso, you are a Monet, I'm not talking down what they do, they paint it, control it. For us, these are paintings, they do it by hammering. You see the difference? Then I saw that. Then later on, gold inlaying. The so-called Damascus steel, or patterned crucible steel as we call it, because they're made in crucible, I will explain later. Patterned crucible steel is so hard, you can hardly make any scratch on it. When you try to touch it, it's the hardest materials you've ever touched. And look what they do. Inlaying, gold inlaying. Inscriptions, these are from the Quran. That's a gold inlay. I keep going and to show the marvelous things they created. Look at this. This is the name of the smith, Amal Ghafur, the work of Ghafur. He signed it, which increases this. By the way, for those of you who are in the business school who want to know, if you want to buy these things, that quality, Sotheby's and Christie's, you're going to pay a fortune for each one of them. Right? So you need to be basically quite rich to buy this. Right? And there are people who buy them. I mean, there are museum pieces though, just before you forget where they are, right? Okay, this is a shield, also made of patterned crucible steel. Look at the intricate engravings. I get closer to it. Look at that. This is a piece of armor, body armor called charayne, 4 mirrors. But this is for protecting the body. This is also, they're all from museums in Iran. This is a dagger. This is the old symbol of a lion hunting a deer or a bull, whatever, a horned animal, and so on and so on. That's the beauty you're confronted. Then, okay, he showed me pictures, and I said, where are they? They said, yeah, Metropolitan Museum of Art, in London Wallace collection, then, yes, different, or in Paris, and so on. I said, what about the motherland in Iran? He said, no, possibly, they could not keep the artifacts. So this is the book you see here, is the Arms and Armor from Iran. This book won the book prize of Iran. I can show it to you if you're interested. So I analyzed this. There are some parts of the book, these are bases, there are some things, and then at the end there is always a catalog for, first is a theoretical part, and at the end comes and I analyze it in a catalog and talk about that. When I finished this book, then more and more Iranian museums told me there are many handwritten manuscripts. Okay, handwritten manuscripts. Iran has a big and large tradition of academia. I think people know that there are some good universities in Iran who work in some interesting areas, to put it mildly, right? But it goes to many areas there. And one of them in Iran, there are millions, really, I'm not exaggerating, at least over 1 million handwritten manuscripts which need to be worked on. There are in different times, many of them are military affairs. So I started. Going through them and many others, I started to fish words. Persian language went through 4 stages. Old Persian, which is written in cuneiform, Avestan language, Middle Persian, and New Persian. New Persian is from 9th, 10th century up to now. Persian is not Armenian. For example, I can read 9th century Persian, no problem. You cannot do it in English. Just try to read 17th century English. But Persian, not Armenian, kept it, but not Middle Persian. So I went through it, fished 5,000 words related to arms and armor from different manuscripts, hundreds of them I went through. And this is the result. For example, I give you this. This is New Persian, Shamshir. And the first occurrence of it is in that Divan Rudaki Samarandi. I indicated the first time the new words is written in Persian, New Persian. But as you can see, Shamshir, it is Middle Persian. It is written in Middle Persian. So how did we do? There is no program for Middle Persian, Old Persian, or Avestan language. I asked the experts, they wrote it by hand, we photographed them, small, put it there. New Persian was timed. Do you know how much time I spent on that? I cannot tell you how much time I spent on this lexicon. But for me it was a mission. That's our mission. We're going to reach this mission no matter what. Sometimes it's not good, I know. But that's what we did. And it went 5,000, look at this. And it has also something like that. Okay, so then I fermented the arms and armor from Iran with lexicon. Interestingly, I won again for this book, the book prize of Iranian studies. I'm the first person in Iran who won this prestigious book prize twice. When you do Karate Kyokushin is something like Japanese. It's for Japan. I don't speak Japanese, but I have such an affinity towards Japan because I was raised in it, right? And I see 2 flags of Japan. Okay, 1 flag is not good, but it doesn't matter. For us, it's Japan, right? But then I started asking myself, why am I interested in Japanese? My wife is not Japanese. I don't even speak Japanese, right? Why am I so interested in Japan? Japan is my heart. But actually, Germany should be my heart. USA should be my heart. These are languages I speak and countries I know. And Iran is my background. Why my heart is in Japan? martial arts. Any martial arts which has its home is an ambassador of the culture. So I said, I'm going to do it for Iran. Because in that time, many Europeans started to do HEMA, historical European martial arts, fighting with weapons, Hospitallers or whatever, Templars. There are many manuscripts in Italian, especially in German, how knights fought back then. They tried to revive it. So I'm going to do it for Persia, for Iran. So I started to read these manuscripts and to get the weapons made, and this book came into existence, Persian Archery and Swordsmanship. You see that I went through the manuscripts, how archery was practiced, how different weapons are practiced. You see that the miniatures are there. You see that I also we show with my students how things were made. And we also put on armor, okay, not with sharp weapons. We fight in this armor and see how it works, and so archery. So that was it. That was the third step, which I did. After doing that, the next step, the fourth book, was Persian Fire and Steel. Because back then, they not only used swords and spears from 15th, 16th century onward, they used firearms. But not these modern firearms. That was the next mission. Matchlocks, flintlocks, percussion caps, how they cast cannons. I found from 15th, 16th century Persian manuscript how to cast cannons. I translated it, annotated it, put it here. I found a 19th century Persian manuscript how rockets were made in 19th century based on Congreve rockets. I don't know if you know the Congreve rockets. Congreve rockets, because when British English faced in India, they fought many, then the Tiger of Mysore confronted them, and then he started to shoot rockets at them, and they decimated English. They defeated English forces twice with rockets back then. And then Congreve, Colonel Congreve, came and imitated it, brought it back to England, and with the same technology they could defeat the Indians. Then Persians heard about that, and there was an engineer who writes about that, also translated that from Persian to English in this book, and explained how he describes, right? And then you need to understand, for example, to give you the challenge of that, when it talks about rockets, I went to talk to a museum. I said, what is this? And they said, this, you need to go through the manuscripts. They said, it's about bullets. I said, bullets? What do you mean bullets? Yeah, there is a whole manuscript about bullets. So why? I said, feshang. Feshang in Persian means bullet. I said, let me see. Then I went through it. No. Back then, they didn't say to rockets. You know, back then, they didn't, feshang was not meant to refer to bullet. Feshang back then was used to refer to rocket. So it went to a semantic shift. So you need to be careful when you translate this. So I went through this, and I did that just to show also the production matter. Look at them. These are flintlocks, these are percussion cap, and then there's a manuscript. Look at also the catalog at the end of that. When I finished this book, then later on, I was invited by a museum in Czech Republic, Znojmo, to write about the whole collection of Znojmo in Czech Republic. So then I went to there, and then it was funded by European Union because it was very important for them. They wanted to have me, so thanks to my colleagues in Znojmo. Beautiful work with my colleagues there, I have to say. So then this book came into existence, Earl of Steel. This deals not only with Persian, but Ottoman, Indian, Japanese, Chinese, and inventory, Caucasian. This book, I won the book prize of Czech Republic, and they invited me to the Revolution Day of Czech Republic, and the Ministry of Culture gave the prize to me. Not the president, but it was Ministry of Culture, but it doesn't matter. So I have 3 book prizes. So this one also won the book prize. And then after that, I went to another field, and this field was a very, very famous one, the interaction between India and Iran. Because in many areas of these sultanates or kingdoms in India, they spoke Persian as lingua franca, not everywhere, but like in Mughal India, like in other sultanates. And I knew that they wrote in Persian about military affairs. That was my goal. So you see, Aid to Sight. Aid to Sight is the name of a book on classification of swords written by Mirza Lutfullah, now look at it, who served India as a military advisor, right, in the 17th century, as an Iranian served them to fight. And then he wrote this book, Classification of Swords. And when Delhi fell, and he was even there to support the Indian troops. And he wrote that. A fascinating book. But this book doesn't only have its translation and a classification and explanation, annotation. I also added in the beginning 3 other Persian manuscripts. Akbari, I put it there. Then I put also Nujum al-Urum, another Persian book. Look at this. This is Nujum al-Urum. Also translation of that, explanation of that. This is from Akbari, and then Tahid Basara. At the end, you see also beautiful pieces from made in India, mostly made in India, some Persian as well, Indian arms and all. Okay. When I finished that, I came to the next project. And these books are quite big. I don't think they're like small books. They're really huge books. The next book project was about jewels and patterned crucible steel. Why jewels? Why precious stones? Because I realized they don't go harname. Persian crucible steel, or as I said, Damascus steel, is always in a book on jewels. For them, it was a jewel. So I started to go through them. There are more than 100 books on jewels. Part of it is always about crucible steel. And I translated the main one, made a comparison to the other. To do that, it broke my neck because I had to work with geologists. And we went through descriptions of different precious stones and semi-precious stones. Anything, diamond, whatever, and also metals, gold, compared them. Look at this. Okay, I haven't won the prize for that, but they indicated me, so I don't know. Indicating doesn't mean anything. Nomination doesn't mean anything. But this book is also this, right? Okay. This book is Shlishinsky collection. This book is a very interesting book for me because it goes actually back. It is a Russian-Ukrainian, that's the way he introduces himself. That's why I do it this way. It has nothing to do with politics. He is a very wealthy gentleman. I think in Paris or in France, he's one of the wealthiest guys there. And he has a private collection. I don't want to tell you the price of it. The price is unbelievable. And he asked me to write a book on his private collection. And that's the book. The book is that big. And it is papyrus paper, by the way. On top is a special leather. Don't ask me what, I forgot again. This is in pure silver, inlaid. And this is, I think, 400 to 500 gram pure silver chiseled on each book. Get this? This is Indian. This, look at the jade handle, look at the top of that. That's the type of collection this gentleman has. This. Okay, the next book I don't want to even, this is an academic book. It's about controversies. I don't want to even go through that. And these are these book prices, 3. So far, current book projects, I'm working on this from Kuwait. This gentleman from Kuwait is one thing. Another thing, I'm comparing writing a book on different archery manuals. I've already published 8 academic articles on different archery, how they shoot, and we do it in real time with real bows made like back then. And we are making a comparison between them. These are my current projects. So that's it. And because future goals, my future goals, because one of you asked me, I have an organization. We are connected with each other also via internet. We have a very active YouTube channel, which is growing day by day, getting bigger and bigger. And we're already a YouTube partner, right? So big discussions with YouTube. And we have a research team. I have a research team from people from Australia, United States, Europe, Iran. And also we have a martial arts team. There are different fighters who also do historical combat. And and these are these 2. And there are also some guys who are in marketing. My team members are from Australia, Iran, United Kingdom, United States, and United Kingdom, just to mention some few of them. Okay, of course, Germany and Luxembourg are mentioned. So that's our goal. Our goal is to grow in both and to do more research, to do more martial arts related event, and that's what I have been doing. And I just said as well, these articles are on my academia page, all of them, I think. No, not all of them. 2 of them I couldn't because they didn't want it. So 198 are on academia page. You can, if you are interested in that. These are publications which are available. So I'm all yours if you have any other question. I try to make it very fast because I know it gets very technical.
Well, let me bring this to the overarching topic for this evening, passion in life. And without passion, without passion, also as a professional, you will accomplish very little. And so, can you basically just take us on a journey from the very beginning, what passion meant for you personally, and how you connected it to your professional work, which now that seems to be the main focus of your work.
Yeah.
It wasn't always like that, and I don't know how conscious that decision was to move into that, or whether these opportunities just arose over time as you became more well known in this field.
Yeah, actually, the driving force for me personally, was to show the beauty of Persian culture to the world. That was also my passion. To share things which many people don't have access to show it to the world. In spite of some misunderstandings or biased views which might be there. So maybe this was a very, very big motivator for me to show that. Because I always said, in my team I have, it's open, I have start to work. Maybe it's not nice to say that, but because you asked me, and I don't know, is it passion which drives me? I think so. Because if I'm today, don't need to work, right? Let's say, I get a big guy who finances me, like 10 people from Kuwait, right? Something like that, right? That I need to work. I can keep writing and I work a lot on it, right? I just, if I could, I would go to an island with an ocean view, like here, with an ocean view, and I can work. I don't need to see anyone. I just needed to finish my research, because I tell you what, only my family, of course. The reason is the following. Until I die, even if I live longer, right, we never know, I cannot finish the projects I have, not even 5% of them.
So finally, I'll let you ask questions.
Any questions you have, I'm all yours. Yes, please.
You mentioned the YouTube channel. I'm just curious what type of videos and content you post for the company.
We have a YouTube channel. It's a research. For example, we talk about manuscripts. Then there I talk to different people, and also we show different martial techniques with swords, daggers, archery practices, these type of things. Everything related to this. Yes. Yes, please.
So I see that you have 200 journals and so many books and so many more researches in the pipeline. But what is your personal favorite?
Among my books?
Not a book, like you researched about artifacts, mostly it's arms, sometimes it's also jewels. So what has been your favorite one artifact or one research that you would have performed which you would feel that, yes, I have gained the most from it and I'm the most happiest that I came across it?
Okay. Currently, what I'm working on, I have been actually working on it for some time, is artifacts are still there, but to move away from artifacts and to concentrate on another field, which, may I ask from which country you come from? India, okay. I think you know that the Indian military is trying to analyze all these old Indian warfare manuscripts, try to find the culture of Indian military and transfer it to the Indian military today. Huge project, and they were investing so much money in it, right? So it was the Chinese government is doing, and many others. Because you can, if you look at the old cultures, like Persian culture, Indian, Chinese, I'm talking about this. Also, not all, also American. You know, for example, if you look at the American military, is the result of conquest. Go to the West, conquer land. American military still works with this doctrine, right? You see? If you go to the manuscripts and analyze them, you see a cultural pattern of warfare, right? And that's what I have been working on. I'm very interested in that field. Right? I know something culture of warfare, culture as tactics of inclusion, exclusion, because that general didn't fall from heaven. He's a product of the culture he or she operates in. Restricted or leeway, restricted within the cultural mechanism. If you know that, you have a profile of that country, then you understand the mechanics of defense or offense of that country better. That's what I'm currently interested in, but it might change later.
It reminds me of a book actually, The Art of War.
Sun Tzu.
Yeah, because I think that's mostly on the Japanese art of war, but I think others,
Excuse me to correct you, Chinese.
Chinese.
It's no problem.
But I think others are also now looking back into history where there is rich history.
Yes, there are two books, few people know that. The Art of War. One is by Sun Tzu, who was actually not a general. He didn't know how to fight, he was a philosopher. But because he was sitting thinking so much, actually whatever he said was true, right? Many people don't know that. China has lots of strategy books, as Japan does, as India does. But Art of War, they're true. One of them is also Italian Art of War, written by Machiavelli. Many people only know Il Principe written by him, but he also wrote Art of War. He also has that. There are two arts of war, one by Machiavelli and one by Sun Tzu. And both deal with cultural war.
It reminds me of our project that never came to fruition.
Yes, yes, exactly.
We tried to study
Yes.
Persian,
Yes.
Persian equivalent.
No. Some countries analyze some other countries to understand the culture of warfare, and they spend lots of time on that. Because then the question for us is this general going to act and react the way his ancestors did, or is he going to change accordingly? I can give you just two examples of a country I know very well, as you know, US military, conquest, going to the West, and compare it to the country I hardly know, I was just teaching there three times, Russia. They have completely different military doctrine, which they again showed in Ukraine. Oh no, I'm not taking any sides, please. No, I'm not interested in politics at all. I'm only interested in the field of military and weapons, that's it.
Just
Yes.
thought in my, while listening to you, we figured out that yes, passion, if one follows passion and with opportunities in the environment, we can, top it all. But passion is also accompanied with risk. Like the passion which you have is a very risky business to attract. So right now, what personality, I have to say that my personality is that I like to take risks, but I cannot go completely into it. I take calculated risks. And whereas your experiences tell me that just don't think about risk. Just
No, I didn't calculate risks, no. I didn't think about that. Because was it wrong or right? I think I was right, but it was a big risk. Yeah, of course it was a big risk. It was a big risk, of course. Because I didn't know if I was going to make the breakthrough, but I only knew one thing. My mission was only that, or passion. I'm going to show these artifacts to the world. Because they didn't let you do that. Do you think you can go to a museum? Oh, this is a king's armor. Go and take pictures, measure it. Do you think you can even get close to one of these items? This is what you think. You know what happens to you? Because the first thing you write to them, there is something off with this guy. Why does he want to get close to these expensive items? Do you understand? That's the first thing they think. What do you think? you know?
You know, that's why this contradicting thought is following, like, what should we do now? Go full in with passion, or take calculated risk and then evaluate steps at every phases and then make decisions, or just go in, just aim for the goal and make your own way, whether ups and downs.
You're asking me?
Left and right.
You're asking me?
No, I'm just following up with this thought with you. Maybe, what is your take like?
Ah, okay. If you ask me, I'm a bit crazy, right? I just say, risk calculation, come on.
Right.
Sorry, I shouldn't. No, come on. Okay, I know it's not nice to say it in an MBA school like that, but you shouldn't be listening to me. But because you asked me, right? You know, because you asked me. You know, for example, I just mentioned something. I found during this, there are like over 100 manuscripts in Persian. You're going to laugh. How to wash yourself, and they argue with each other. For example, if you go to wash yourself, should you start washing your hair or your hands? And with what? And the guy said, oh, you need to translate this. I said, I don't want to translate this. It's not my field. I have enough to do. But for example, if someone has this passion, or cooking recipes, in Persian there are so many cooking recipes from centuries old. This is a huge field. I mean, I'm not going to do that because you need to concentrate on something, right? But you know, for example, we were talking about it with a friend, and she said, oh, well, she speaks Persian, and she says, oh, I would like to do that, but then I don't have time. I'm a consultant, right? So, but it doesn't work that way, you know?
I think we'll be more flexible to say that I'm a passionate person
Yeah.
with competitive level or doses of risk.
Yeah. I don't know if it's passion, but I do that. You know, I do that. Right.
I'm now trying to kind of challenge you out of the box. A program that I was developing for EFMD, we always had the lead-off speaker, which is a professor of neuromanagement and strategic leadership. And so he's very much focused on leading oneself. For instance, he makes this very strong argument that you need balance in your life to give your brain rest, that you focus on family, that you focus on friends and friendship. And, you know, obviously there's this passion that overtakes you, but where's the balance?
I have 2 kids who we love each other to death. I think I spend lots of time with them. That's my balance.
Okay, you know, again, it's a question. How does he fit all this stuff into one day?
You know, I'm very close to my kids. Extremely close, actually. Extremely close.
I think you have to admire you for your productivity. Sometimes I try to challenge him out of the box by sending off emails to my students here. It's really something.
Please let's not practice this right now.
But you know, that's different reasons why I'm up. It's not a systematic thing. You know, for you it seems to be a systematic thing.
I mean, you know, I think what if you ask me about my passions, I don't think I do something specifically. I do it, right? That's it. You know, it's nothing special. I just do it. I just look at it in a way that there is something to be done, and then I do it, right? That's the way I do, right? There is my mission, and I'm going to do it. And then I set a deadline and try to reach it. That's all. There's nothing specific about that.
Or again, to challenge you, do you have any downtime? Where, you know, at least when I had certain roles, there was always a part of the year where I had enough, where I really needed a break.
Okay. So you asked me, did I have doubts? Yes, sometimes when it was cold and I had gloves, it was so cold, and I said, what the hell? I feel my fingers do not bend after 15 minutes, but I still went on. When it was so hot, I said, I can't, I'm going to collapse. But I continued. Yeah, I had doubts. Of course, I'm a human being, like every one of us is. But I just kept going. That's it. I just kept going. I just kept going. When I was training on a frozen lake, did I say it's going to break? Oh, it's going to break. Of course. When you do these martial arts moves and it's slippery, I'm going to go down? Well, I said, yeah, well, if I go to try to, no, it's not, I'm not going down. And it didn't break. Did I doubt? Of course I did. But I just wanted to show, and that's what it motivates my people in my martial arts team, not in the research team. This guy, at least, does what he preaches.
Very good sentence. Questions?
One question I am now very, very curious because I'm looking answers for that in my personal life. So I see from your talks and what you recently spoke that you are very driven and that motivation comes from inside somewhere. And it is not only in one aspect. You're driven when it comes to martial arts, you're driven about your research. For these artifacts, when you discovered this new thing, probably it's like it was a new thing and you were very driven. Now you have discovered the military manuscripts, probably where you want to go back and research about it, and you're so driven that you feel like, okay, maybe death will come to you before your research might end. So how and from where, or like what is that internal factor where you find this drive and this motivation? Because there are days I really struggle to find motivation, even if I do have a goal sometimes.
Can I give you an unconventional example? It's very unconventional, and maybe it's not very academic. It's very Bushido. It's very Japanese Bushido. May I? Okay, I'll ask a question, you answer. Okay? Katana is a long sword. It's very sharp, very strong. Many people don't have blade awareness, as we say in self-defense. Katana is okay, like any other sword. Now listen to me. You're sitting there, okay, now imagine you're here, or you're standing in front of me, and I have a katana in front of you, like this. You know what happens to you if I hit you? There are going, excuse me, to be two of you, right? You're afraid, aren't you? Of course. If you see the edge of my katana, what would you do?
Step away.
Where? Left, right, back? Where? Back. You know what Bushido tells you to do? Just take 2 steps towards the edge of the katana and you're in heaven. Do you understand? I know in Western logic you cannot understand that. Do you hear me? It means life is ephemeral. We are all mortal. Do you understand? That's what it means. Do you hear me? Many people misunderstand this quote. Now, for me, at least for me, I have shown lots of these things to the world, which were hidden, because I translated into lingua franca, which is English. Even these things which are in Persian, I translated in modern English. If you're a native speaker of Persian, do you think they can understand that? It's not that easy, right? You understand? So I've shown these artifacts to the world. That was my mission. So my only goal is, and there are also other researchers, they work with me, but they don't read Persian. Or this type of Persian. This type of Persian. So before I die, I try to make as many as possible available to the whole world. And now, before that, the only goal I have, to give my kids enough leisure time, because Ulrich asked, that they enjoy their life. If I personally, okay, I enjoy it with them, have this and that, for me personally, for me, is this important. If the leisure time is dedicated to my kids. For example, my boy does basketball. He does also martial arts, but he's in basketball team. He wants me to play with him. Okay, I have no chance against this boy. He's a small boy, but of course I'm not a basketball player, right? For example. But having said that, for me, this is important. Now, if I go and sit 1 week, okay, now of course I go on vacation, but on vacation I also train a lot. I have to admit that. Yeah, I do that. Yes, I do that. I don't know why, I just do it. It's nothing specific about that. I have doubts, of course. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes, you have like, your muscle aches. Sometimes you just say, oh God, this is 5 o'clock in the morning again, going out in the dark, cold. But I go. I just go. Because I just say, If you're in the special forces and military, can you say it's 5 o'clock and I want to sleep? You can't do that there. But then the question is, are you in the military? No, I'm not, but in a way, I just do it. That's it. Nothing special about that. Actually, it's nothing special about that. I just do it. That's it. I know it's strange.
No, maybe you should write a book now about this, about drive and motivation. A little bit of philosophy away from history.
So we invited him for the third time. You know, it's finally time that he executed that.
Okay, I have to say no because you asked me. I have to say I have problems. I don't show it when people say that's not good for me. Oh, I'm so tired. Oh, why are you tired? I worked 4 hours today. Where? In the office? Yeah. Why are you tired? Because you work in the office made you tired. And I have to pretend that I understand. But between you and me, I don't. It's my bad. It's my problem, right? But I don't. Is it motivation? Is it drive? I don't know.
No, but seriously, you should think about writing a management book and reflect on this a bit.
Are you serious?
Give it some thought.
Okay. Yeah.
Questions? No?
Any questions? Okay, guys. Thank you very much.